Have you ever had those days where you just feel off? Not sick, not exactly tired, but like there's a quiet disconnect between your mind and your body, a silent frustration that things just don't work the way they used to. It can feel like a kind of emotional loneliness, a private struggle that's hard to put into words, even with those you love the most. It's a feeling that can subtly drain the color from your days, leaving you feeling like you've lost a bit of your vital spark, that essential energy that makes you feel like you. This is a silent struggle for so many men, a shadow in the background of an otherwise good life. What if I told you that this vague sense of loss, this quiet struggle, is often tangled up with something we've been taught our entire lives to never, ever talk about? It's linked to the natural, predictable, and completely normal changes happening within our bodies as we age, specifically in our sexual health. The silence around this topic has turned a normal life transition into a source of fear and anxiety. But knowledge is power. By understanding what's really going on, you can reclaim your confidence. So if you've been feeling like you've lost a step, or a bit of that inner fire, stick with me. This conversation might just change everything. All right, let's pull back the curtain and talk. Man to man. No shame, no medical jargon, no embarrassment. Let's just have an honest conversation about the male body, specifically your body, after the age of 60. Think of this as a chat you should have had with a trusted doctor or a wise old friend decades ago. We're going to cover the physical changes, the mental side of things, and most importantly, how to navigate this new chapter with grace and confidence. This isn't about what you've lost. It's about understanding where you are now. It's a fundamental part of healthy aging and preserving your long-term quality of life and happiness. First up, let's talk about elasticity. Remember when you were younger, how your body just seemed to bounce back from everything? A late night, a tough workout, you name it. Well, that's because your body's tissues were incredibly elastic and flexible. As we live our lives, all of our tissues, from our skin to our muscles, naturally lose some of that springiness. The tissues in the penis are no different. It's a perfectly normal process, like getting a little silver in your hair or laugh lines around your eyes. This change can affect the firmness of an erection, but it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of a life well lived. To put it another way, think of a brand new springy rubber band compared to one that's been in the drawer for 20 years. The older one still works perfectly well. It's still useful, but it doesn't have that same snappy recoil, does it? You just have to be a little more deliberate with it. Understanding this simple physical reality is the very first step toward adapting your approach and, crucially, maintaining your confidence. This is about working with your body as it is today, not fighting against a memory of how it used to be. This mindset shift is key for your overall well-being. Now, let's talk about the plumbing, because it's absolutely essential. Strong, reliable erections are all about one thing: healthy blood flow. It's a cardiovascular event. As we get older, our entire circulatory system can become a bit less efficient. The walls of our blood vessels can lose some of their flexibility and even harden up, a condition known as atherosclerosis. You might think of this only in terms of heart health, but it has a direct and powerful impact on every part of the body, including erectile function. It's a perfect example of how your overall health directly impacts your sexual health. The fantastic news here is that this is something you have a significant amount of control over. This is where your healthy habits become your superpowers. Simple, consistent exercise, even a brisk 30-minute walk, each day can do absolute wonders for your circulation. Pairing that with smart nutrition, focusing on foods that are good for your heart, directly benefits your erectile health. It's a 2-for-1 deal. What's good for your heart is good for your intimacy. This proactive approach to your health is the foundation of longevity and a vibrant life. Okay, let's go there. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: erectile dysfunction, or ED. The clinical numbers suggest that it affects a huge percentage of men over 60, somewhere between 40% and 70%. Now just think about that for a second. If something is that common, if it's affecting nearly half or even more of your peers, why on earth do we treat it like a rare, shameful secret? It is a medical condition, plain and simple. Just like needing reading glasses or taking medication for blood pressure, it is not, and I repeat, not a reflection of your character or your masculinity. I'll never forget a patient of mine. We'll call him David. He was 67, a retired firefighter, a man who had run into burning buildings. Yet, he came into my office looking absolutely defeated, whispering about his ED as if it were a terrible confession. He honestly thought his intimate life was over. The most important thing we did wasn't prescribing medication, it was talking. It was reframing the issue as a manageable health condition. The relief on his face was incredible. He regained his confidence, which improved not just his intimacy, but his overall happiness and sense of independence. Let's shift gears now and talk about the hormonal side of the equation. As we get older, the levels of testosterone, the primary male hormone, begin a gradual decline. This isn't a sudden drop-off, but more of a gentle, rolling slope that can become more noticeable after 60. One of the most common results of this is a natural change in libido, or sex drive. You might find that your desire isn't as frequent, as urgent, or as impulsive as it was in your younger years. That constant hum of sexuality might have quieted down to a softer, more mellow tune. But I have to ask you, is that really a bad thing? So many men I've counseled over the years eventually confess that this shift can actually feel like a relief. The relentless, sometimes distracting drive of their youth has been replaced by something calmer. Please hear me on this. This hormonal change is not a loss of your masculinity. It is an evolution. It's a biological invitation to discover a different kind of intimacy, one that can be less about raw impulse and more about a deep, soulful connection. This is a crucial step in healthy aging. This is precisely where your sexual life can be completely rediscovered and, in many ways, become far richer and more meaningful. It's an opportunity to shift gears from a frantic sprint to a leisurely, scenic journey. The focus can move away from a purely physical, goal-oriented act toward the shared experience, the laughter, the tenderness, and the profound emotional connection with your partner. This shift doesn't just improve your sex life, it profoundly enhances your long-term well-being and the deep, abiding happiness found in a mature partnership. I once had a conversation with the wife of a longtime patient. She told me something I'll never forget. She said, "You know, this new phase is actually wonderful. All the pressure is off for both of us. We talk more, we hold each other more, we're exploring new ways to be close that we never made time for before. It feels more intimate and loving than it has in years." Her perspective is a powerful testament to the fact that this journey is a shared one, and that open, loving communication is the bridge that turns challenges into opportunities for growth. Another physical shift that can occur is a change in sensitivity. Over the decades, the nerve endings throughout our bodies can become slightly less responsive, and this includes the penis. This might mean that it takes longer, or different kinds of stimulation, to reach orgasm. It can also mean that the sensation of orgasm itself might feel different, perhaps less explosive or intense than what you remember from your youth. This is not a malfunction. It is a very common and normal part of the body's healthy aging process. The secret here is to adapt, not to compare. If you constantly measure today's experiences against the memories of your 20-year-old self, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration. Instead, I encourage you to get curious. This is your body, right here, right now. What feels good today? This is a genuine opportunity to explore new kinds of touch, different rhythms, and new pathways to pleasure. This exploration is vital for maintaining a satisfying and vibrant quality of life. By the way, if any of this is making sense to you so far, or even just opening up a new way of thinking, give this video a quick like. It's a small thing, but it really helps me know that these conversations are needed and allows me to keep them coming for you. Now, let's discuss what is, without a doubt, the most powerful sexual organ you possess, the 6 inches between your ears, your mind. All the physical changes we've been talking about can unleash a torrent of powerful emotions: frustration, deep anxiety, a sense of embarrassment, or a significant blow to your self-esteem. Your psychological and emotional state is every bit as important as your physical. 1, if not more so. Keeping an active mind that is resilient and kind to itself is paramount. It is incredibly easy to get trapped in a vicious cycle of anxiety. You have one experience that doesn't go as planned. You start to worry that it will happen again. and that worry itself creates performance anxiety. And what is the physiological effect of anxiety? It constricts blood vessels and releases stress hormones, making an erection even more difficult to achieve. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But an active mind, one that you train through mindfulness and self-compassion, can learn to break this destructive cycle. I like to use the analogy of a professional golfer who suddenly develops the yips over a short putt. They miss one easy shot, and then they can't stop thinking about missing. Their fear of failing makes them fail. The problem isn't a sudden loss of skill, it's a crisis of confidence in their mind. Rebuilding your sexual confidence works in exactly the same way. It begins by gently quieting that critical, anxious voice in your head and learning to focus on the present moment of connection, not a future fear of performance. If there is one single piece of advice that I believe is more powerful than any pill, potion, or technique, it is this: cultivate open, honest, and vulnerable communication with your partner. This is the absolute cornerstone of navigating these changes successfully and happily together. Voicing your fears, your insecurities, and your feelings of change can feel like the scariest thing in the world, but I promise you, it is the act that builds a bridge of intimacy so strong that it can withstand any physical challenge. And what does that communication actually sound like? It might be as simple and as brave as saying, "You know, honey, my body is changing and sometimes it makes me feel anxious or frustrated. I want us to still be close. Can we work together to figure out this new chapter for us?" That one single, honest admission can dissolve years of silent resentment, misunderstanding, and distance. It transforms the issue from your problem into our journey, which is the secret to lasting happiness in a relationship. It is so fundamentally important that we, as men, as partners, as a society, destigmatize this entire process. These changes are a natural biological evolution of the human body. They are not a verdict on your worth, your vitality, or your masculinity. Think about it. A mighty oak tree in the heart of autumn shedding its leaves is not seen as failing or broken. It is seen as beautiful, as part of a natural and necessary cycle. We must learn to grant our own aging process that same dignity and grace for our own well-being. For far too long, and so wrongly, our culture has tied the definition of masculinity almost exclusively to youthful virility and sexual performance. But I believe true, mature strength lies in other qualities, in adaptability, in emotional courage, in resilience, and in kindness. Embracing this new phase of your life with an open heart and an honest voice is a profound and powerful expression of a secure, mature masculinity. It's about the journey to becoming a whole person, not just playing a part. And please, never forget that your sexual health does not exist in a separate box from the rest of your life. It is a direct and sensitive barometer of your overall health, your commitment to good nutrition, your dedication to consistent exercise, the quality of your sleep, and how you manage stress. These aren't just abstract healthy habits. They are the foundational pillars that support everything, including your ability to maintain sexual function and a high quality of life as one of our respected seniors. Therefore, if you have concerns in this area, I urge you to zoom out and look at the whole, magnificent picture of your life. Are you moving your body with joy? Are you fueling it with wholesome nutrition? Are you giving your mind and body the rest it needs to repair? Are you actively managing your stress? Taking care of the entire system is the single most effective, sustainable, and empowering way to support every individual part of it. This holistic view is the real secret to longevity and healthy aging. Above all, be patient. Be patient with your body, be patient with the process, and be deeply patient and kind with your partner. Things might just take a little more time now. More time for arousal, more time for exploration, more time for open communication. But this slowing down, I promise you, is a feature, not a bug. It is a gift. It forces you out of old, mindless habits and invites you into a more mindful, present, and deeply felt connection that can be more rewarding than you can possibly imagine. I want to be as clear as I can possibly be on this final point. The evolution of your body and your sexuality after 60 is not the end of the book. It isn't even the final chapter. It is simply a plot. Twist. A turn in the narrative of your life that leads to a new and different kind of story. It's a story that can be filled with a different kind of depth, wisdom, and meaning. With the right knowledge, patience, and communication, this new chapter can be one of the most satisfying and significant of all. If you have made it this far, listening to this entire conversation, that tells me something incredibly important about you. It tells me that you still care deeply about your health, about your happiness, about your independence, and about the quality of your relationships. You have not given up or checked out. You are here, actively seeking knowledge and understanding, and that act of seeking is the most powerful and courageous first step anyone can possibly take. So, I'm not going to ask you to go out and completely overhaul your life tomorrow. Big, drastic changes rarely stick, but I will invite you, gently, to choose just one small thing to try. Maybe that one thing is deciding to start a real, open-hearted conversation with your partner. Maybe it's finally picking up the phone to schedule that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Or maybe, just maybe, it's simply making a conscious decision to be a little kinder to the man in the mirror starting tomorrow. I would genuinely love to hear from you. Your stories and your presence here help create a community where no one has to feel like they are going through this alone. Do me a favor and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single one, and I might just give your city or country a shout out in the next video. Let's create a map of men around the world who are ready to have these important conversations. And finally, if this was helpful for you, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that little notification bell right next to it. That way you won't miss our next conversation, where we'll continue to explore simple, practical tips to keep your mind sharp, your body strong, and your spirit fiercely independent for all the wonderful and vibrant years to come. Take care.